Hello there. In this video, I'm going to share the tools, tips, and techniques that I found really upgraded my workflows in 2025. Some saved me hours of frustration, others a couple of band-aids. So let's dive into my favorite things for the year. Hello, I'm Brent. On this channel, I make videos on cosplay builds, maker projects, and all of the processes that go into them. I love to talk about the tools and techniques that I find, so let's dive into my first favorite thing for the year. So for our first item, we're going to be talking about this $50 projector, or projectors in general. This has saved me hours and hours and hours. I use it for projector sewing, so specifically for projecting patterns for sewing in other projects. So how has this saved me hours? It means that I do not have to print out and cut patterns. I absolutely hate working with printed out patterns. Taping them takes forever and then you have to cut it out. It's just an absolute nightmare. It wastes trees and I never want to deal with it again. And I don't have to because I only use projected patterns now. So what is projector sewing? So what it is that you set up a projector so that it projects down onto your work surface. And then you calibrate it so that the patterns that you have on your computer are the correct size. And a crucial part of getting this to work is projectorpatterns.com. It has made calibrating projectors like super easy. Like there are a lot of very non-technical people who are now projecting patterns because of this app. There is a lot of support online, so there's a really good Facebook group on projecting patterns that you can look at. I also did a full video on what projecting patterns is and how I use it in my workflow. Feel free to check it out above and it's down in the description. So let's move on to number 2. I personally was devastated with the loss of Joann's this year. Joann's has been a stalwart partner in my cosplay and maker upbringing, and it is hard to work without them. I know a lot of you feel it too. And so I've had to spend a lot more time ordering my materials way ahead of time online to get what I need to do my builds. One of the things that has helped me do that well is this little book right here. One of the things that I found really hard about working with buying things online is that you really can't tell if the color is accurate to what you need it to be. And so one of the things that I have to do all the time is match thread to fabric. And I have been bit so many times with the colors on the website being inaccurate to what it is in real life that I just became so frustrated. I've lost a decent amount of time, energy, and money to this problem. And so this booklet helps solve that. Nowadays, I buy most of my thread, or basically all of my thread, on wallwack.com because I have this booklet that has all of the thread colors that they sell for the type of thread that I use. It makes it really easy for me to take the fabric swatches that I got for my projects and compare to what all of the thread colors are. And it makes it super easy to make sure that I get the correct color that I need for my project. It has saved me time, it has saved me money, and it has saved me from pulling out my hair more, from just getting the thread color wrong, because nothing's worse than you making an order and waiting several days and you need to start the project in the next day. you finally get the thread you ordered and you find out that it's just not close enough. So yeah, I love it. Like this Mara Gutermann thread color checker booklet is like amazing. Get yours. No regrets here. So the next item is really two items. One is Gaffers tape and these Presto Jumbo Correction pens. What's Gaffers tape? It's a really nice type of tape that you can put onto things and you can pull off the tape without it leaving any residue or it marking up whatever you put it on. It is amazing for that. It is great for labels, which is what I use it a lot for. And I also use it for the bottom of my Chewbacca feet. It has a lot of good grip, but it also doesn't mark up any floors that I walk on. And then this Presto Jumbo Correction pen, I use it to write the labels onto my Gaffers tape and put it onto the different things that I need to label. The pen has a fine point, which is really nice and allows you to write very easily, and the ink / paint that comes out of it is very opaque, which makes it great for writing those labels on dark Gaffers tape like the black one I have here. I use it for labeling all of my cosplay boxes, and so let's dive into the next thing that we're going to talk about, which are my new favorite boxes that I store all of my cosplay materials in when I can, and that's these Sidio Crates. So there are a couple of different types of crates. I have two of these different types of Sidio Crates. This one here is the original one, and they are amazing because they are super solid. They look really nice. They come in a lot of different colorways. They come with lids like the one I have here that latch on. They have handles for you to be able to lift and put down. And then the really amazing thing about these Sidio Crates is the internal organization. You can see here that it's got these slots for you to be putting these dividers in, and these dividers help me organize the things inside. Let me go grab the other one. And so the cool thing about this crate is that it collapses, so you can pull these tabs and they come apart. And this folds down, so I can do that on both sides. And then it packs away pretty flat. Oh, the other nice thing about this one, well, you can obviously see through the front plastic, but you can also open up the plastic piece to be able to get inside. I mean, I love that I can see inside or at least this specific version of it, but it feels a lot less strong than the original one. So I found that I honestly prefer the original ones a little bit more. And these are kind of expensive. So I only own 3 so far, but I will definitely be slowly investing in more in the future. This isn't a absolute need to have of a thing, but it's a really nice to have thing that I think helps my workflow. Okay, moving on to the next thing. I'm a little bit clumsy, and so like a lot of makers and cosplayers, like I get hurt every once in a while, especially on my hands. I get small nicks and cuts, and so like Band-Aids can be really annoying. they they don't always stick very well. They tend to fall off. They don't usually fit well, especially on hands, because they crunch up and like. So one of the things that I found really helped me this year are these new skin liquid bandages. They are a liquid that you spread over your small cut or nick, but once it dries, it creates a flexible barrier over the top of the cut, and it makes it easy for you to get back into making a lot faster. Like, this is absolutely one of my favorite things for the year and was 100% worth it. Didn't cost that much. So yeah, I say 100% please invest in your own type of liquid bandage. The only caveat I will give is that you should make sure you do not spill this on any clothing, because I haven't figured out any way to get it out of clothing. It stains really bad. So keep it away from your clothing, but otherwise 10 out of 10, love it. So the next thing we're going to talk about is convention related. So I go to usually several conventions a year. I love going to conventions, and I love dressing up in costume for conventions. And one of the things that happens a lot when you're in costume at a convention is that people take your photo and then they ask for your social media profile so that they can credit you in the photo. And that's great. That's absolutely what you should be doing when you're taking photos of cosplayers. You should be crediting them whenever possible. And so when I'm wearing something like my Chewbacca mask, it makes it a lot harder for people to hear me. I come out a lot more muffled. And so the thing that I have loved this year is this RFID card on a badge holder. I was able to use my phone for free to be able to program it to point to my personal link tree. This allows you to tap someone else's phone and it will bring up the link to it. But sometimes when you're in a crowded area or if people have older phones, that doesn't work. And so that's one of the reasons that I put a QR code on here. I just printed that out and then used some packing tape to tape that onto the front of the RFID card. And then lastly, I put this on a badge holder, a retractable one. So I will attach this to my con bag and I can just bring this out and show it to them and they'll be able to get my social media profiles. This was super easy to set up. I got a pack of like several of them for pretty cheap. So I think it was super worthwhile, and I think you should get one too if you go to a lot of cons like me and people take photos of you. It's worth it. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is not necessarily a specific item, but it's a technique. And that technique is wet felting. So I was building my Peter Pan costume and I needed to make a hat for him. I thought that I saw that the Peter Pan hat that I was trying to emulate had no seams on it. And I spent a long time trying to figure out, how do I create a hat with no seams? And the technique that I found to do it is wet felting. Wet felting is a technique where you take wool fiber, so this is basically just sheep's wool that has been dyed. You work it with warm, soapy water. You rub those layers together, and eventually they mesh together, and you are able to make hats out of them. I use that technique to make this Peter Pan hat that you see here. It came out better than I ever could have thought for my first time doing wet felting. I know that if I need to make a hat in the future, this is one of the techniques that I'm going to have in my back pocket to be able to do it. And there's something super gratifying about just being able to go from such a base material to make something like a hat feels like, I don't know, magic. I am going to be releasing a full video on how I built my Peter Pan costume, and that will contain the process that I used for making this Peter Pan hat so that you can make your own. So stay tuned for January for that video. These are my favorite things from 2025 that saved me frustration, hours, and some money. So if you want to try out any of the things that I've talked about, they'll be linked down in the description. If you want to see them in action, I've got videos like the Projector Sewing video that you can check out. Next up on the channel is going to be my Peter Pan build. It's coming out in January of 2026, and it'll be covering the wool felting process, and so stick around for that. If you want to see that video, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time in the workshop.